In this video, we are going to talk about the Layer Viewer, a new and very powerful feature of Scilab 10. If you don't see it open, just go to the View menu and click on Layer Viewer. It will appear on the right side of the screen. The Layer Viewer helps you to organize your jobs in layers. But as you can see right now, I have only one layer with all 5 objects in it. I can see the order of the objects from here. So I see the rectangle is behind the circle, behind the text number 1, and the star is behind my text number 2. I also can select the objects by clicking on the drop-down arrow over here, which shows a representation of each one of the objects in this particular layer 1. I can click and select any one of the objects, and I can see all the object attributes. This is the hairline that I apply to it. It could be a thick line also. The color of the hairline, the color of the fill of the object, the page this object is in, any transparency applied, and this is the history of the object. So I size, move, and rotate this object. I can select any one of the action I made and delete it. The rotation, I delete it. And I can double click on any one of these actions to see exactly what I did. One of the advantages of showing the attributes is that you can transfer the attributes from one object to another. For example, I can take the line style and assign that line style to the text number 1. The color of the line style from text number 2 to number 1. And if I have any special fill applied, like in this case I'm going to apply a pattern fill to the rectangle, then I will be able to select that special fill and transfer over to another object. I can easily transfer the transparency of the circle to the text number 2. You will be able to see more options by right-clicking any one of the objects. You can edit the objects, just change the position regarding the others on the same layer, or you can just rename it to some other name. But so far I was working with one layer. What happens if I create a second layer by clicking on the plus over here? What is the advantage of having a second layer? Let's place those two objects. I'm clicking on the first one, I shift click on the second one, and I'm going to drag them to the layer number 2. So now I have 2 layers, 1 and 2. I can then make it visible or invisible just by clicking on the eye. Let's select the other one. I can make it cuttable or not, so I can say this is a layer that is not going to be cut, or print. So for example, I'm going to turn off the print for layer number 2. Then I'm selecting everything, and if I go to File, Print, in my preview I can see that only the layer 1 is being able to print. Same thing happens if you go to the Print at GATTO VPM. Only the one that has the print enable will be signed to the VPM. By clicking in this button, I'm not able to select or do anything to layer 2. Then I can move layer 1, no problem. But if I select everything, I'm just going to be just moving the layer 1. Layer 2 is locked. Working with different layers is very convenient. I'm going to load another file to show you how this is going to work. Now in this file you can see that each layer has a different name. We renamed this file to be able to see exactly what's in each one of the layers. And you can select any one of the layers and duplicate it. For example, I made the layer number 7 and going to put here contact 2, and then I'm going to change the phone number to a second phone number over here. And then I can decide which one of the phone numbers will be visible. For example, I'm going to turn this invisible, so I have one for this number, or I can say this is visible and this is invisible for the second number. You can turn on or off any one of the layer really easily. This sign was completely designed in Scilab 10. As you can see, we have 5 different layers, 2 backgrounds, 2 color schemes, and a noise effect. Right now, the background 2 is the one visible because it's on top of background number 1. By clicking on the eye, I turn this invisible, and now I can see the background number 1. The same thing happens with the color scheme of the banners. By turning off the sign color number 2, I see the color number 1 for the banner. Now if I zoom in into the banner, I can click on and off the eye to see how that changes, without and with my noise effect. Now, the last thing I want to show you is with the layer viewer, it's really easy to change the layer's position and the order of the objects inside each one of the layers. For example, in this case I have 3 layers. Layer 1 containing the circle and the text number 1, layer 2 containing the rectangle and the text number 2, and layer 3 containing the star and the text number 3. You can see that the layer 3 is on top of everything, and you can also see that in layer 3, for example, my text number 3 is on top of the star. I can easily change that by clicking and holding the mouse on the star and dragging to the top. So now my star is on top of the text number 3. I can select the text now and put it on top of the star again. You can also select any one of the layers. For example, I'm selecting now the layer number 1 and dragging to the top. You will see my circle on top of everything. So basically, you can change the order of the layers by just holding the mouse and dragging to the top.